Hey guys, today I'm going to be walking you through how to install TrueNAS Scale and a couple of fixes that I had to do in order to get VMs working properly, as well as NFS storage for those VMs. So first of all, you're going to go to the TrueNAS website, truenas.com, and go to download TrueNAS Scale. Once you're here, you want to go down to the bottom and sign up for the newsletter or email, and then click no thanks, I already have signed up. Once you click that, you have the option of downloading two different versions, TrueNAS Scale Stable or TrueNAS Scale Legacy version. We want to go ahead and get the current stable version, so go ahead and click that to download it. I already have it downloaded, so I don't have to do that. Once you have it downloaded, you want to go ahead and use some kind of ISO flasher. The three that I prefer are Etcher, Ventoy, and Rufus. Etcher is pretty good. It's probably the easiest one to use out of all of them. Ventoy is my favorite one to use because you can have multiple ISOs on one flash drive, and it's really nice. And Rufus is just the tried and true one. It's the one that everybody started on, kind of thing. It's the old dog in the race. Um, there's plenty of videos on YouTube on how exactly to use all three of these tools. Just find whichever YouTube video and go with it. Once you have the ISO, plug it into your device and go ahead and get to your boot menu. Normally it's F12 or F11 or F9. Sometimes it's delete. You can find it in a couple of different ways. Once you're here, you want to go ahead and go down to the boot menu that you're using. In my case, it's this one. It's the USB disk 3.0 PMAP, because I know that's my USB flash drive. And you want to go ahead and go to the ISO if you're using Ventoy. If you're using something else, it should just automatically start booting into Grub. Once you're here, go ahead and hit Start Installation. And the installation process for TrueNAS Scale is very easy. It should take all of 10 minutes. Most of the time is just spent waiting on the last little bit for the actual install process to finish. Most of it is just following the directions on screen. So in this case, I want to go to install an upgrade or install dash upgrade. Once I'm here, you can use your arrow keys to move up and down, or left and right, or whatever you need to do. And you can use spacebar to select. So you're gonna go down here to SDC, hit select, and you want to find whatever drive. In my case, it's SDC. Yours, it might be SDA, it might be SB, it might be NVMe something. You want to find whatever drive you're installing it to. In my case, it is SDC. And then once you have it selected, press OK. You can also select multiple drives if you want to do a mirror. Here it's asking if you want to upgrade the installation that's currently there, or if you want to do a fresh install. For my case, I'm going to do a fresh install, and then I'm going to go ahead and format the boot drive. Then this will pop up telling you not to use a USB flash sticks. They're discouraged. SATA, SAS, or NVMe is what is recommended. And that's just because USB drives tend to die pretty quickly when they're being used for something like this. And then this is where one of the first problems start. In previous versions of TrueNAS Scale, you could only be the root user, and then you could make your own users afterwards. But in the new installation, it wants you to go ahead and create an admin user, and that's what we're going to do. And then once you do that, you go ahead and enter your password, whatever you want your password to log in to be. And then it'll start the install process. Once this is, it'll also ask you if you want to create swap. This is up to you. I always create swap because it's cheap to have extra swap on a drive, especially if you're using an SSD. It kind of helps out quite a bit. And it'll go through the install process. I can go ahead and speed through this install process. All right, once that is finished, you'll get this pop-up message to go ahead and remove your installation media and to go ahead and reboot. You just press OK, go down to reboot, and the system should go ahead and start rebooting. Once you're rebooted, you'll end up on a screen like this. On here, it'll give you some IP addresses. In my case, I have 2 NICs, so I have 4. If you only have 1 NIC, you'll have 2 IP addresses. Go to one of those in your web browser, So you want to go over to a desktop or something and enter into your URL. Once you're here, once you type that in, it'll enter up your login prompt. So you want to go ahead and log in with admin and using that password that we made earlier. Whenever you pop into this, it should pop you up on dashboard. I've already logged into this testing something earlier. But yeah, in my case, I need to go down here to networking because I need to set up a bond. So we want to go to add uh, link aggregation bond 0, DHCP for this one so that I can do something later, LACP, and then we want to select both of the NICs that I'm going to be using, hit save. So this is a feature in TrueNAS that's really useful. There are unapplied network interface changes need to be permanent. Do you want to test these changes? If you hit test changes, it will give you 60 seconds for those changes to apply. And after the 60 seconds, if you do not hit save changes, it will revert those to where they were previously so you can get back into your machine. So if something happens and you're messing with networking, as long as you haven't hit save changes, you should just be able to wait 60 seconds and you should be back to where you were before. We know this works, so we're going to hit save changes. And now we have bond 0. All right, next, there's a bit of an issue with TrueNAS or how the network is configured in TrueNAS. There's two places, or I guess there's a YouTube video and a forum post from Level 1 Techs that kind of explains this in detail. Wendell made a guide that explains all of this, and he's much better explaining it than I am. But what it boils down to is your NFS share is not accessible to your VMs because there's no bridge device, and whenever your VMs try to connect out, they cannot connect to your host. They go out on the wire instead of just connecting back. I'll have these two videos linked in the description, or the video and the article linked in the description, so that you can look into the issues more yourself. But since this has been made, I believe that the bridge issue in the UI has been fixed. So if you go to add and you go to bridge and you name it BR0, you can go down here to bridge member, select the NIC that you want to select, and go ahead and add an alias. And a WAC24 for this case, and hit save. And it'll go ahead and make the bridge for you, and you can go ahead and hit test changes like we did earlier. See that it connects and hit save changes. And then now, if I wanted to, I can go to that IP address, 192.168.0.111. And it'll give me the same page, which is pretty good. So yeah, now we can go into here, and then inside my bond, I can turn off DHCP and hit save so that I don't have but one way to access it. That way I don't have two IP addresses being taken up by this one machine. But yeah, so now we have a bridge set up. Previously, this did not work via the UI, or at least it wouldn't be persistent. I'm pretty sure it's persistent now. I'll test that actually right now. We can go ahead and test that. We can go to here and go ahead and go to 8, and that should reboot the machine. Press yes to confirm, and we'll see if that ends up rebooting and if that ends up being persistent. So it does seem like it is persistent. Let's go check it on the desktop. So we'll go ahead and log back in as admin. And yeah, it does seem like it is persistent through reboots. So that bug seems like it was fixed in the latest version of TrueNAS, or at least this version of TrueNAS. So yeah, that's good. All right, now we're going to do a few things that I just like to do whenever I create a new TrueNAS. We're going to go to system settings, and we're going to go check for updates. And as you can see, in my case, we get this message. If this is a message you run into, which I do just about every time, you need to go to General. I believe it's under General. Nope, it's under Network, excuse me. You need to go to Network, and then under here, go to Settings, and you need to enter some kind of a name server. In this case, we're going to use Quad9, just for simplicity, and you need to enter your uh, your default route or your default gateway. And then once you do that, you hit save. You can go back over here to system updates, and you should be able to get updates. It will say no updates, which means no longer do you have that error. Now, we're going to go ahead and set up my data sets and set up my storage. So we need to go ahead and create pools. So we're going to go to this button where it says create pools. And in my case, I have these which say tank whatever next to them because these were already in a previous pool or in previous VDevs. So you may not have those, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It'll just give you a warning if you do have those. So the first thing we're gonna name it is tank 0. Now I could import these, but they don't have any data on them, and this is more or less just a test array. So I'm showing you exactly how you do this with a new machine. You wouldn't get this pop up. Then you'd move this over. The only option I have right now is a mirror, so we're gonna do a mirror. Tank 0, and you hit create, confirm. It'll erase all the contents of the pool, so make sure the disks don't have anything on them there that you won't. If not, you need to import, which I can show you how to import as well with one of these. It'll create the pool. Once it's done creating the pool, it will bring you to the storage section of TrueNAS. And we need these in order to get to the next step because we need this in order to have somewhere to store our VMs and stuff like that. So it'll pop up this, and then it'll say more on the side disk. If you want to add more pools, you can do that. We're going to go ahead and add one more. We're going to go ahead and do the tank 1. So tank 1, move those over, click the little arrow. I'm going to do another mirror, and then hit create pool, and it'll go through the same thing it did a second ago. All right, now we have both of those pools set up. And the last one I'm going to go ahead and show you how to import a pool. You just go to the import pool option and you select the name of the pool. You hit import and it does it. And it's as simple as that. So yeah, now we have all 3 of our pools imported into TrueNAS. And we're going to go ahead and go to datasets, and I'm going to go ahead and create a dataset. So the dataset that I want to create is for my VM. So I'm just going to name this VM storage. And then everything by default seems fine, I believe. And we're going to go ahead and hit save. And then we're going to create another one called ISO storage and hit save. So that's where I'm going to save my ISOs. That way they're not both in the same folder or the data set. Once we have that done, we're going to go to virtualization and yeah. All right, this is where the next problem begins. There's a couple of forum posts that solve the issues that I've been having. This one is one I replied to, and someone else was having the same issue. I'm going to try to demonstrate this issue for you so that you can see the issue that I was having. In order to recreate that, we're going to go ahead and do add virtual machine, select Linux. The name of this, we're going to name it Podman, since that's what the VM I was working on was called. Go down here, select cores. We want to do 2 cores, 4 threads for this particular VM. Host pass through, and we're going to give it 8 gigs or 8 gigabytes, whatever. And we're going to select VM storage, and we're going to give it a 50 gig disk. That should be more than enough for what it's going to be doing. VirtIO, and then you want to select your bridge device. And then in here, we're going to do upload our own because I don't currently have any on this device. Tank 0, ISO storage, and choose file. Whenever you do this, it'll pop up your choose file thing. And we're going to be using downloads. We're going to be using Ubuntu 22.10, I guess. Is that the only one that I have, actually? I thought that I was going to... Oh no, Alma Linux. There we are. We're going to use Alma Linux, and we're going to hit upload. This does take a few minutes, so I'll be back whenever that's done. All right, once that's done, we go ahead and hit next, and we're not going to pass to a GPU next, and we hit save. So, this is the issue. Whenever we start this, everything seems fine. we go down here to display, and here's one of the options. We get bad gateway, and that's one of the things we need to fix. And the other issue is this. Now this is the issue that I had solved earlier when I pointed towards, I commented on this, and I kind of found out what the issue was. This user thought it had something to do with Polkit, and I believe it does, but the way to solve this is through permissions. So we want to go ahead and go over to the VM and go ahead and force timeout and go ahead and stop. If you click off of it, it will do it in the background. And we're going to be going to credentials, local users, and we're going to go to the admin account. Now, for whatever reason, this admin account does not have any permissions other than built-in administrators, and because of that, it does not have the permissions we need for libvirt. So we need libvirt-qemu, we need libvirt, and I believe we need kvm. And I believe those are all the permissions that we have to have for this. So we'll see if that gets it done. I believe those are all that we have to have. Once you hit save, now this VM we're going to go ahead and delete because I believe it's faster to just delete this VM than it is to wait on the shutdown time. And we shouldn't be getting that same error anymore. We should be getting another new fun error. Yay! Go to Linux, and we're going to just do the same thing we did earlier. We're going to go up 2 cores, give it 2 cores, give it 4 threads, give it host pass-through, give it 8000, virt, VM storage, 50 gig, virt.io, bridge, installation media. Now we're going to go down here into tank 0, ISO storage, and Alma. Next, and then save. Now, when we start it, we should be getting a different error. So the other error, now if we go to the display, we still have this issue, which is the other issue that we're trying to fix. But if we go to serial, we get this, which is a different error. See, now we can actually see that the machine is booting and things work because we have the correct permissions. So in order to fix this, or in order to fix this bad gateway issue, there's another forum post. So this person, this was December 24th of 2022. They come up with a way of go ahead, and what they said is you can manually patch your system. And how we do that is we're going to go to system settings, shell, and then in the shell, we're going to go up here and we're going to copy this just for simplicity's sake on my part. And we're going to go down to here and we're going to use sudo, paste that in. Yep, thanks TrueNAS. And then we're going to do -- line numbers. Oh, I have caps lock on. Line numbers. And your password for root. And then go down here to the very last line. This person said it was own line 331. I wasn't sure if that was the bottom line, but yes, it is. And where it says return localhost, instead of saying return localhost, we want this to be 127.0.0.1, just like he says here. Once that is, you can press Control O, and then that'll do that. Control X, and it will save it. And then we want to restart the middleware, and we can just copy paste that. So shift insert, cancel, sudo. We're gonna do that as super user, bang bang, and then that will reboot the middleware. It'll restart the UI, and I think it's all the TrueNAS stuff. It just all restarts. If this doesn't work, you can also try rebooting. I had pretty good luck just doing it this way. So now, when we go over to virtual machines, we should be able to go to display, and the service has no longer requested, whatever. I believe we need to go ahead and create a new VM for this to work. I have not had any luck just trying to reuse the same old VM after doing this fix. So once again, go ahead and create a new VM and see if that is fixed. So once again, go to here, Linux, Podman, uh, next, 2 cores, 4 threads, host pass-through, 8000, next, vert.io, VM storage, gig, vert.io. Go ahead and grab Alma, next, save. Then go ahead and start it up. And we should this time, so we have the serial shell, that works just as well as it did last time. And now this time we should be able to go to virtualization and go to display and actually have a display. That's wonderful. Now we can actually install Alma. I ran into this trying to set up Podman on Alma on top of TrueNAS Scale. I was following the video that I mentioned earlier by Level 1 Techs, and I was not able to get the VM to install because of this. I hope this helps you out if this is a problem that you were also running into. Yeah. Any feedback would be appreciated. It's the first time making a YouTube video, so it's probably not the highest of quality, but hopefully it helped you get through this little issue that I ran into as well.